if you're going to be buying a house soon, you're going to want to listen to today's show all the way through until the end, because we are going to be sharing a handful of house hunting mistakes to avoid. So we're not really going to cover, we've done a little bit of shows before here and there chatting about just like home buyer mistakes in general, but we're going to try to keep this one focused on the actual house hunting part of the process. So
like before the showing hunting part?
Anything regarding house hunting. So not just like home buyer mistakes necessarily, but home buyer house hunting. So we're getting a little more specific today.
Yeah, I like it. This is good because this is happening right now in this market. Home buyers, in a way they're scared, in a way they're motivated. And me as their agent, I'm like more motivated than ever to be submitting offers. And here's why. I'm negotiating so much more.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. But that's not even the key, though, because house hunting starts with our first consultation with buyers. And it's really your goals, the audience, you guys viewing this video. What are your real estate goals? You elaborate that with us, and then we connect you with our team if you don't have one already, or you connect me with yours, and then we can continue on with the house hunting search.
Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to jump on in with the first mistake, and that is not looking the house up on maps before you decide if you want to go see it or not. So what I mean by this is you don't have to go all the way and do a drive-by. A lot of times you're house hunting and you're not even in the area that you're going to be, like you don't live in the area that you're going to be looking at houses in. But anyone can go on their phone and look at Google Maps. This could potentially save you wasted time if the house is, I mean, you can't see everything, obviously, from maps, but maybe you'll be able to tell, oh, it's like right by this like freeway and I don't want to live here. This is a deal breaker. Or, oh, this is across the street. Or you'll just know if depending on, you know, what deal breakers there are for you. So
there's always hidden location things you don't know about, because listing agents, but photographers especially, do such a good job at hiding the location a lot of the times in these listing photos, because their job is to market, right? We can't just sell you something you don't want to see right off the bat. We have to have an attention grabber. So those photos, they're going to be looking as pretty as possible. So that key, though, is so important. For instance, I was at a showing 3 days ago in Albany, and the location was not what I expected at all. Maybe my buyers knew about it, but the location that I thought it would be completely different based off the listing photos I saw. If I just would have Google mapped it and just saw the real life time pictures from the satellite views, I would have known instantly this wasn't going to be the property for them, and it was not worth what the sales price said it was. And it was those two exact things when I showed up at the listing, and it would have saved us so much time if we just would have Google mapped it.
Right.
And maybe I had a backbone, I don't know. Right. But ultimately, I'm going to do what my clients ask of me.
Right.
It's not my job to fight them and not set up a showing, because my opinion differs than you guys. Yeah. So don't let that role be reversed. I work for you.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that. So that is a great point. Get Google Maps out for a listing you have a showing set up for.
Yeah. And again, you might not be able to tell. There might be nothing that comes up on maps, and then you get there and it's still in an area that you don't want to be in, and you just couldn't tell from Google Maps, but it takes you 2 seconds and it doesn't hurt to do.
What's cool is you can walk on the road, the streets and everything. And, I mean, if there's a business right around the corner, true. Commercial buildings, roadways, I-5, in our area. So very important.
I showed a house, and it was, from the photos, it looked like the perfect house for these buyers. And it was just such a weird, like literally right next door to it was a convenience store, and they wanted to be in a neighborhood and not just be, have a neighbor be the convenience store. They wanted an actual house as a neighbor. So you just never know. Okay. Another huge mistake. This is a big one. You don't want to do it. And that is not using a real estate agent as a buyer. It baffles me that in 2023, there's still people out there that think that the best thing to do when buying a house is just calling agents on for sale signs, and they just do not know how things work. So that's a mistake. You want a realtor, you want to stick with one realtor, you want to pick a realtor that you feel like you can trust, and work with them the whole way through. Don't agent hop, and certainly don't try to do it on your own.
Nobody likes getting scammed. And I think one of the biggest real estate scams is doing what the listing agent tells you to do. When you call them on the sign, they're generally going to tell you, well, my client will only accept this. Usually that's going to be full price. Well, my client's not going to pay your closing costs. Well, maybe that's a deal breaker for you. Now, these seller agents have a fiduciary duty for the sellers. They were hired by the sellers to sell the house. That makes sense. That's their job title. So it makes no sense for you to be calling multiple agents for one. You want to keep things organized. I don't know how people do it because properties, there could be 20 addresses you really like. That's 20 different phone calls to 20 different agents. You don't even know their last name. So they get lost in your address book when you try to circle back maybe after the showing, maybe after you viewed an open house. So if you choose one agent, could be us, Vettrus Crawford Realty, we set you up on a property watch. We set you to where you get automatic email updates. But not only is that happening, we're doing personal searches for you daily, every week, whatever you prefer, whether you're motivated or not. We have a set task list to do for you. And that's why it's super important for clients to understand why our website is so convenient, but important for you and us both, so we can keep it organized and be doing our jobs appropriately. Keyword appropriately, because there are so many hungry agents out there right now, and you just call them off a sign, you call them off a Zillow ad. They are just like, hooray, free money. That's literally what they feel like. They worked and they did nothing to deserve you. Yeah. And then ultimately... And
their loyalty is to the seller, not to you.
Yes. Right? And then ultimately, the relationship side, the trust side, which is huge in this 30, 45-day process to get a home closed, is behind. I would say it's delayed. Yeah. Okay? And it's too easy.
Yeah. That's good. Okay, so another mistake. This one I saw not too long ago with a buyer that I was working with, and this mistake is, let me just paint a picture. Say you're pre-qualified for the the lowest probably amount that you could find a home. In our area, I'm going to just say $300,000. If you find a house for $300,000, you're lucky. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't even say lucky. It's really rare. So say
I'm having a hard time at $350,000.
Yes. So say you're pre-qualified for $300,000 and you are not open to condos, your lot line homes, manufactured homes. You only want a single family home and you don't want any big repairs, like things that are more than just cosmetic. That's just not realistic. Even in our area, in let's just say like that 300,000 range, most of these homes are going to be cash only because they're in such bad condition that you have to have cash if you want to buy it. And they'd most likely just be an investor because, so yeah, that's just the big thing is just having unrealistic expectations. You're much better off knowing upfront, okay, this is what realistically I can get for 300,000. I am on a, McDonald's budget. So I'm not going to try to go get a steak. I'm going to know this is my budget and I'm going to be realistic. And maybe that means you have to lower your expectations, but you're getting your foot in the door with homeownership. You're doing your future self a favor by just buying that zero lot line home because it's $300,000 and it's move-in ready versus the looking for a year and plus and never finding anything because it's so hard to find anything that's move-in ready that's a regular single family home. So that's my input on that. Your future self will thank you. This can get you to that next home that is what you want. Just buy what you can afford and start saving money and building equity.
And the negotiator side of me is always like, there's something to do to make a deal. Like, don't ever just give up and say like black and white. I simply don't like business that's black and white. I always love finding a different course, a different route. If something's not working for you, then we need to get more creative maybe. So right now, interest rates, we all know it, they're around 7.2%. That's a major hit to a lot of home buyers that have been in the market. Maybe you can't afford a mortgage anymore. Maybe you are on the tip of the iceberg with your debt to income ratios at 6.5, whatever. So now you're out. Well, if you've been saving all this time, unfortunately, maybe just a traditional 30-year fixed home loan isn't the one for you. Let's think outside of the box because what I can tell you that I've put together more deals lately than ever in real estate are carry deals, carry option deals, buying the seller off in 5 years from now with a balloon payment. Now, not everybody's willing to do that. I get that. But The thing is, it doesn't hurt to ask. And when I'm seeing these average days on market so high, I'm seeing sellers being willing to do more now than ever because they don't want to miss out. They don't want to miss out on all this equity. So as long as they get their equity within maybe 5 years and a continued monthly check, the balloon, the rent to own, the carry deal, however we want to construct it, maybe they'll be happy. Every situation is different. So that's why maybe choosing a real estate professional that's willing to do that work for you is wise. Because if you're just average Joe calling around every broker on the first phone call saying, hey, you're willing to put a deal together, carry this, carry that, I'll put this much down.
Yeah.
Not often is it's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
If you have the attorney, which is in a sense us, fighting on your behalf, maybe we can really get more legal documentation happening for you and making it more possible to get a home for you, because you might be outpriced in this market. You really could be. And that's the majority of the people that have been in the home search the last 4 months that haven't been able to find a property because of the amount of homes available. It's been tough out there. So I sympathize with you guys. I really do. But let's think outside of the box now. It's time we turn a page and we say, this hasn't been working. Let's make something work.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, another mistake is waiting too long to see a house. So there were markets not too long ago, last year or the year before, where you did not have time to sleep on a house. You were lucky to get any house, like literally to get an offer accepted, especially if you were a first time buyer. And there was no time to go home and sleep on your decision, to think about it. You didn't have time to do that. But now we have a little more time. Homes aren't selling they're still selling, but they're not selling quite as quickly, for sure, as they were in yesterday's market when you didn't have time to sleep on it. But at the same time, no matter what the real estate market is doing, time is always of the essence in real estate. And so it's always going to be the situation, even if it is a slower market, where the sooner you can get out there to see the house, or the sooner you can have your agent go do a virtual tour, if you're house hunting virtually, like so many of our clients, the better. And the sooner you can make the offer and send it over, the better, even if, things are a little bit slower.
I have been seeing sellers strategize a little bit differently now. For instance, we had a just under 2,000 square foot home on 0.3 of an acre listed, I believe, way under budget. Okay. Now, sellers, I believe, are going to start strategizing their price points. If you're overpriced, I mean, it's just not going to turn out good for you if you're a seller in this local area. We're specifically in Oregon. So we are going to see more, I feel like, competitive pricing happening for listings coming onto market if the broker behind the listing's any good. Now, if they're not any good, we're going to be seeing more higher days on market, price reductions, all the above that come with, in a sense, I'm not going to bash anybody, but a worser agent than maybe others. Okay, so strategy is always important, and markets change. We all have to know this as the professionals. So buyers, look at these strategies happening, because if you do wait on a certain home, it might not be there in 2 days. And realize what the broker, which is me helping you buy the house, is telling you during these showings. Man, this has been shown like 8 times in the last 2 days. There's probably going to be a multiple offer situation. Depending on where you're at, we don't want to be in a multiple offer situation, especially if we're in a home loan. But if we're cash, okay, let's get in one and win. But be aware of pricing strategies is what I have to say.
That's good. Okay, that's all I have. Unless you have any other home hunting tips to add to that.
I think real estate is more encouraging now than it really has been in the last 8 months. I'm not kidding.
What do you mean by that? Like more like clientele, or just better negotiating for buyers?
Clientele, negotiation, opportunity. If you're a seller, you're still getting top dollar for these homes.
Right.
Okay?
You still have so much equity.
You have a lot of I would say leverage. That's the proper word. You have a lot of leverage, because look at your neighbor, look at 3 streets down, look at a half-mile radius of you, and see how many other homes are available. Probably not many. I do home searches every day. I go through multiple cities every day, and the listing inventory is not good.
Yeah.
And then if it is listed, look at the type of home that's listed. It's just a hard choice for buyers to be making. So sellers, I'm encouraging you, if you're on the fence and just don't understand why or how to sell, you don't even know how much your house is worth right now.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little secret. I do free CMAs. I'm going to repeat that. I do free CMAs. Absolutely free. I ask you, do you want me to hand deliver it? Do you want me to mail it to you? Do you want me to email it to you? I'm not the guy that's going to sit in your house for 4 hours. You get agitated with me just because I showed up at your door. Now, in a listing appointment, that's a little different. It's my job to know everything about the home. But ultimately, it's going to be your choice. So sellers, you're in a great spot. But buyers, let it be known more now than ever, there's opportunity out there. If you've been missing out on opportunities, maybe change your approach. Maybe change your broker. But there's more opportunity than I've seen in a long time. A long time. And that's what makes me very excited, especially if you're selling a house coming in with a lot of cash, usually $250,000, $300,000 cash, especially if you're out of state and you're viewing this. Usually you got more equity in your homes than most Oregonians would.
Yeah.
You're in a great spot, not to just battle and submit an offer, but to actually get an offer accepted on a great home once we do find it and get a successful close of escrow.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm encouraged.
That's true. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to watch. We come on here every single week with new videos. So if you love learning about real estate, head over to our channel. We have all kinds of playlists that you might be able to grab value from. And if you are someone who is thinking about buying or selling real estate outside of the state of Oregon and you don't have a realtor, we'd love to help you find one. Don't trust the first agent that you see on Zillow. You could be wasting a lot of time and money. We'll see you next week.